There's an old saying. Life is short. Eat dessert first. Well, we're not going to eat it first, but we're going to cook it first because it takes longer to bake. If you haven't noticed already, if you turn to almost every menu in any restaurant in this town, and you look in the dessert column, you're going to find bread pudding. Why is that, do you think? It's our bread. It's our bread. Our bread comes in long loaves, about 30 inches long, packed in paper sleeves. There's no preservatives in our bread. It's very low sugar. It's very low fat. Just eat all you want. How long do you think bread with no preservatives lasted back in the day? Maybe a day. Maybe a day. What about milk? Well, they used to pry up a flagstone in the floor of the corner of the kitchen, and they'd take these big clay jars and they'd sink them down until they hit groundwater. Remember we talked about the high water table here? What about eggs? Well, anybody brought up in the country will tell you eggs last a lot longer than you think they do. So what do you do when you get bread that's just, so hard and stale and crumbly, and milk that maybe just a little whiffy, and eggs, well, they're not floating yet. Well, you all know. If you just add enough sugar to something, people will just eat anything, right? It looks like a lot, doesn't it? It's the drama of the whole thing. What goes in a pina colada? Well, you all know, coconut and pineapple, right? So those are the fruits that we're going to be adding to our mixture today. So here's our coconut and our pineapple right in here. I'm going to use a little bit of pina colada mix. This is a non-alcoholic mix that I'm using for additional flavor. I'm not using this instead of milk. I'm using it in addition to milk, okay? So, just whatever looks good. Might as well use the rest of it. I'm going to go ahead and add my vanilla to my eggs. And I like vanilla, so I might use a little bit extra. And this will take you right back to your grandmother's house. I don't know about you all, but it was the very first thing I was asked to do in a kitchen, as a little girl. And it wasn't until I was a good bit older that I realized she was just trying to keep me busy and out of the way, so she could do what she needed to do. That's all right. This makes me happy every time I hear this. And you don't have to plug it in. Here we go. I'm using whole milk. 2% milk is fine as well. Please, y'all, it's dessert. Don't even think about using skim milk. There we go. I want this to look like kind of a loose oatmeal. Everybody knows what that looks like, right? Isn't that just perfect? Now, normally if I was at home, I would put this in a cold oven. Because the longer it sits there, the more it's going to soak up all this stuff, right? But we're on a time schedule here, so I'm going to put it in a preheated oven. Okay. And in just about an hour and 15 minutes or so, we're going to have a beautiful bread pudding. We are going to do a classic Cajun meat gumbo, chicken and andouille sausage gumbo. I don't need okra in this gumbo. Don't need it. It is traditionally not used in a meat gumbo. Because we don't have that excess water that seafood gives off, right? We don't have that, so we don't have to worry about it. Now, there's a little joke in Louisiana that all of our recipes start with 5 words. First, you make a roux. Well, that's not always true, but when you're talking about gumbo, believe me, it's all about the roux. There you go. You see when I put the end of this spoon, can you see the wooden spoon? It starts to bubble around the spoon. Did y'all see that? See? That's letting me know that my fat is hot enough to accept the flour. So I'm going to go ahead and add all-purpose flour. There's nothing strange or weird about any of the ingredients that I'm using today. There really isn't. And we're going to stir this in. The most important thing I can teach you all about making a roux is once you start your roux, you never, ever, never, under any circumstances, do you ever leave your roux. I do not care about your doorbell. I don't care about my phone. I surely don't care about yours. I don't care about your children either. You know what? Stop hovering. They'll be fine. Let them settle it, you know? You stir your roux. There we go. I'm happy with that. What do you all think? That's where we started. That's where we ended. I'm going to pour this. This is my 3rd layer right into the pot. This is my favorite part. I love that. You hear that kind of sizzling sound going on here? 2 things are happening here. First of all, that 2nd layer, the uncooked vegetable layer, is stopping the roux from cooking. And this hot roux is wilting that 2nd layer. Does that make any kind of sense to you? So right away in the pot, we're going to have a variation in texture, and we're going to have a depth of flavor that we would not have had if we had not done this. I'm going to go ahead and add hot chicken stock. Hot chicken stock. Why does the stock have to be hot? You gravy makers know the answer to this. Hot stock, no lumps, right? No lumps. Secret to perfect gravy. I don't care if it's homemade chicken stock. I don't care if it's Mr. Swanson's fine product. I don't care if it's better than bouillon. You know, just don't use bouillon cubes. Bouillon cubes are like 80% salt. All right, so you don't want to use that. So I always like to start my bay leaves off in the stock. And of course, when people walk by and they see leaves floating in there, they always think it's homemade. So you don't have to tell them anything, you know. They don't need to know all your business. So right into our hot pot. So we're going to season our pot. There we go. Y'all are too easy. The only reason anybody is concerned is because it's red. Name another red spice besides cayenne. Paprika, who's worried about that? Not a soul. Oh, of what was then called yaya. Yaya. An African word. Means rice. And jamba means surprise. Rice with a surprise. Because you never knew what was going to be in the pot that night. So jambalaya becomes jambalaya, okay? Rice with a surprise. This starts out the same way our gumbo did. I'm using regular smoked sausage. Andouille sausage is a flavor enhancing sausage or seasoning sausage. And because it's labor intensive to produce, it costs about 2.5 times more than regular smoked sausage, okay? So smoked sausage is an eating sausage. You can use a lot of it. So we've got our smoked sausage that we sauteed just like we did before with half of our Trinity, right? Here's the other half. Right in here, held on the side, big spoonful of fresh chopped garlic. Layer number 2. Layer number 3 is going to be our chicken. There we go. Again, cut up. Jambalaya is a great vehicle for using leftovers. Friday after Thanksgiving, you might want to use a turkey and sausage jambalaya. You know, you want to look for something a little different than your normal, you know. So. There it is. We're going to stir this in, and then we're going to add our seasoning. Okay. So let's season our pot. Now, we've already had this conversation. It's all right. You're welcome.